What does it mean to love in a world where your scars are the only proof of your strength? Picture yourself at a crossroads, heart pounding, the weight of unspoken sacrifices pressing against your chest. The air is heavy, charged with the silence of pain you've carried alone. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher who saw life as an unyielding storm, whispers a truth you've always sensed but never named. The life of man is a constant struggle for existence with the certainty of defeat. Here on dark Psyphoria, we don't turn away from these shadows. We step into them to find the light. She smiled at your wounds, not because she wished them healed, but because they showed you bled for her. You were taught that women crave strength, but what if they're drawn to the man who bears his pain without breaking? Will you rage against this truth, or will you lean into it? Which path calls to you, resentment or understanding? At Dark Psyphoria, we're unraveling these questions together, and we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Your support can help us reach this milestone and keep these truths alive. Subscribe now, and let's walk this path as one. Schopenhauer saw through the illusions you've clung to. You believed that by loving purely, by offering your heart openly, you'd earn her devotion. But your pain was never a burden to her. It was your offering. In his essay on women, he writes, "Women exist in the main solely for the propagation of the species. This isn't a judgment, it's a revelation. Propagation demands more than love. It demands endurance, sacrifice, the raw resolve to stand firm when the world presses down. Your breath catches as you see it. Her approval isn't given to the man who glides through life untested. It's reserved for the one who bleeds silently beneath the weight of duty, whose strength is forged in quiet suffering. Have you ever felt this? The moment you gave everything, only to find her gaze drawn to the man who endured more. Pause here. What stirs in you as you face this truth? Women, Schopenhauer argued, are not bound by the justice you expect. Justice begins with gratitude for sacrifice, but to her your offering is as natural as the tide carving the shore. You weren't deceived by her malice, but by your own dreams of fairness. The modern man, raised on promises of equality and softness, feels his heart fracture when she turns from his vulnerability. Nietzsche, echoing Schopenhauer, wrote, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." Your pain isn't your enemy. It's the raw material of your ascent. But here's the shift. What if her indifference isn't rejection, but a mirror reflecting your untested strength? What if she's not the villain, but the forge? The air grows heavy as this truth settles. Your pulse quickens. Could you reframe her tests as the fire that tempers your soul? Nature, Schopenhauer warned, made women short-sighted, attuned to immediate needs, survival, security, the continuation of life. She doesn't seek your endless victories. She seeks your ability to carry burdens without complaint. Her instincts, shaped by millennia, test you through demands, trials, even silence. This isn't betrayal. It's biology. Picture a storm at sea, waves crashing, the sky a bruise of gray. She stands on the shore, watching not for the ship that sails smoothly, but for the one that holds fast against the gale. Your chest tightens as you see it. She's not plotting your downfall. She's the wind, unconsciously shaping you through the suffering you've been taught to hide. Have you ever felt her silence as a challenge? Did you crumble, or did you rise? The modern man, steeped in illusions of sentiment, rages or breaks when faced with this truth. You expected her to honor your ease, your openness, your heart laid bare. But to the primal mind, vulnerability signals weakness, and weakness demands rejection. Schopenhauer never called women evil, only loyal to nature's harsh laws, far more than men who dream of romance. When she loves fiercely, but at its core, there's a selfish necessity, not cruelty, but survival. Your kindnesses, your soft words, your sacrifices offered without pride, they vanish into her instincts like whispers in a storm. Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." What if her indifference is the catalyst for your transformation? Feel the ground shift beneath you. What illusion are you holding on to? This is where the arc bends toward healing. Schopenhauer taught that life itself is suffering, that desires are the threads tying us to pain. To expect a woman, a creature of nature, to transcend the forces that shaped her is to misunderstand existence. He wrote, "Woman is by nature meant to obey, not as a call to dominance, but as a reflection of the primal dance. Men build, women choose. Men endure, women reward the one who endures best." If anger stirs in you, it's not because these words are false. It's because they threaten the stories you've been sold. You weren't born to be loved for your tenderness, your sweetness, your good intentions. You were born to be tested by life, by fate, by her. The air feels sharper now, like the first breath after waking from a long sleep. What would it mean to accept this test, not with bitterness, but with a knowing smile? Imagine a man named John who poured his soul into a relationship for years. He gave his time, his energy, his heart, believing his sacrifices would bind her to him. But she drifted, her eyes drawn to a man who carried his burdens with quiet strength. John raged, then despaired, until one day he stopped begging for her gaze. He built a life of purpose, work that lit his soul, friendships that grounded him, a discipline that steeled his spirit. Only then did she see him, not as a boy pleading for love, but as a man commanding respect. This is the crucible Schopenhauer points to. Your suffering isn't a curse, it's the forge where your soul is shaped. Ancient heroes knew this. Achilles wept, his heart torn, but gripped his spear and fought, the dawn light glinting off bronze. Odysseus suffered exile, yet returned unbowed. Their scars weren't shameful, they were proof of triumph. Feel your own scars now. What story do they tell? She doesn't desire your suffering because she hates you. Deep within, she longs to witness your ascension, to see a man rise, not untested, but unbroken. The more you resist this truth, the more you suffer in vain. But when you embrace it, when you accept that struggle is not just inevitable, but essential, something shifts. The weight on your shoulders becomes a crown. You stop begging for approval and start commanding respect. Nietzsche wrote, "You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes?" Your pain is the flame. Her tests are the spark. Will you burn or will you rise? Pause here. What burden are you carrying without pride? How could you bear it differently? Women don't bring hatred to the male spirit. They bring a mirror. They reflect whether your soul is ready to bear the crown of life, a crown earned not in comfort but in scars. She doesn't make you suffer to destroy you. She makes you suffer to reveal you. The wise man doesn't curse the storm. He builds a stronger ship. Hear the creak of wood as the waves roar. Taste the salt spray on your lips. Feel the ship hold steady under your command. Schopenhauer's warnings weren't calls to resentment. They were calls to sovereignty. He wrote, "To marry is to have one's rights and double one's duties." This isn't cynicism, it's preparation. You can't change her nature, but you can change your expectations, fortify your character, master your soul. The silence of your resolve becomes your power. The man who suffers and rages is enslaved. The man who suffers and understands is free. Imagine standing on a cliff, the wind howling, the sea below churning. You've carried your pain not as a wound to display, but as a forge to refine. You don't seek her pity. You seek your own reflection. Your strength isn't the absence of pain, but its presence, born with dignity. Schopenhauer, the bleak philosopher, still found beauty in life's cruelty. He didn't hate women, he pitied men who misunderstood them. A woman isn't your enemy, but a force of nature, a wind that dashes weak ships against the rocks or carries strong ones into the vast unknown. Feel that wind now. Is it breaking you or is it lifting you? Build your life first, brother. Ground yourself in a purpose deeper than her approval. Cultivate a strength so profound that whether she adores you or abandons you, your spirit stands unmoved. When you engage with women, do so from fullness, not need. Then, and only then, will you live in harmony with them, not as a boy craving comfort, nor as a cynic seeking vengeance, but as a man who knows love at its highest is the meeting of two warriors who have survived the fire. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Your darkness, your pain, your struggle is the path to your light. What darkness are you ready to face today? You weren't born to be pitied. You were born to be revered. Reverence is earned through fire, through scars, through the quiet power of enduring well. Schopenhauer pointed the way, but the path is yours to walk. The pain you carried, the silence that deafened you, the tests that broke your heart, they weren't your ruin. They were your alchemy. Look back at that man at the crossroads, hands trembling, heart heavy. He's still you, but now you see him differently. His pain isn't a wound, it's a forge. His scars aren't shame, they're strength. And if she seems to desire his suffering, it's not because she hates him. It's because she longs to witness his rise. In 2025, as we navigate a world of fleeting connections and digital noise, this truth echoes louder than ever. From the protests for justice to the quiet moments of personal triumph, we're all tested by life's storms. Will you let them define you, or will you define them? Stand tall, brother. Suffer well. Rise beyond the game. If this truth has stirred something deep within you, share it. Not for the algorithm, but for the soul who needs it next. Let's stop surviving our inner world and start living inside it. Subscribe to Dark Psyphoria if you're ready to go deeper with us. This is Dark Psyphoria, where healing doesn't shout but whispers through your silence. Thank you for watching. Walk your path with quiet strength.